Dear students, last video we have discussed about creational design pattern, and that the summary of a creational design pattern, that is a singleton factory, abstract factory, builder and a prototype design pattern. Now today we will discuss about the second categorical design patterns by the GOF Gang of Four. Also, four authors they have given in three categories: creational, structural, and behavioral design pattern. So now already we have completed structural creational design pattern. Now we'll discuss about structural design pattern. In structural design patterns we have 7 design patterns, and as we know, structural design pattern describes how the objects and classes can be combined to form a large structure. So now depends on different types of objects and classes. They combined, they linked together and framed a structure. So now all these 7 design patterns they indicates the designs with respect to the structural part. So now first we will see adapter design pattern, which is the first design patterns under structural design patterns we have to discuss. In this figure you can find out what is adapter. It allows the objects with incompatible interface to collaborate. That means it provides an interface between two unrelated entities so that they can work together. For example, you can find out in the right hand side you will have the adapter we have, and we have a 3-pin plug, and we have a socket of 230 or 250 volt socket, 3-pin socket. So now in this figure you can find out the adapter, which is we call adaptee, and that adapter can be that adaptee can be attached to the adapter 3-pin plug, and which can be attached to the 230 volt socket. So 230 volt, it's a different kind of interface, and we have a mobile, suppose a charger, it's a different kind of a structure. So when we connect with mobile charger to our mobile socket, so it takes 3 to 4 or 5 6 volt we take. So but it is connected with the 230 volt socket through a adapter. So this is the example. We have a two unrelated interface like a mobile socket, and we have a 3-pin 230 volt socket which is attached in our wall. So now to communicate or to charge the mobile phone, we need to attach the adapter into the 3-pin socket which is 230 volt. So now in this particular figure, so it is clearly mentioned we have a two unrelated. If we put directly the USB cable of your mobile to directly 230 volt, there may be disturbances, there may be damage of your mobile phone because it won't accept 230 volt. So now one interface which is not compatible with the other interface, so in between we have to establish one adapter which helps to adapt it, which helps to adjust or combine two unrelated interface. So similarly in our design pattern we can have different types of object, different types of interfaces. So now we can allow the objects to compatible with different types of interfaces, though it is different kind of interfaces, but it can be collaborate, it can be combined together. This is about structural design pattern on adapter design pattern. Next we will move to the second structural design pattern, that is bridge design pattern. We can split a large class or set up closely related classes into two separate hierarchies, abstractions and implementations, which can be developed independently of each other. So in bridge patterns we can use, or sometimes we use to decouple the interface. Decouple the interface means to separate the interfaces from the implementation. So now implementation is different stages. So now when we are separating the interfaces, we have to implement separately, and hiding the implementation details from the client program. That means the implementation part, what is going on in the interface, it should not be exposed to the user. So now you can see in this figure that is a bridge. Why it is named bridge? Because it joins two ends. Sometimes you will have something one end, something is going on. So now it can be connected to other part. The other, suppose the people on one side and the people of other side, they are doing their work independently. Now if they want to communicate, they can communicate through bridge, but the implementation is at their end. So now in bridge pattern, it helps to navigate, to communicate, to establish a bridge or the gap between two interface. It establishes the communication. This is also one structure type it establishes. That means one interface here, separate implementation or independently implementation is going on, and the other side we have a different independent module or independent object or classes. Their implementation is different. So now in these two we can establish a bridge that we can take the advantages of these two implementations separately which is going on. That is about your bridge pattern. So bridge patterns used to decouple the interface. That means if you have a interface, we can decouple to separate the interfaces from the implementation part, so that implementation part it will concentrate on the implementation, and the other part it may have a different so client may not have or client may not disturb with the implementation part. For example, we are using we can take an instance or a real example, macro operations in different applications software. Like in macro we use operating system level macros, we use in Excel, and different kinds of application softwares we use. So now whatever the process is going on, it's a backside. The user need not require to know that, but there are some communication in between. There are some particular structure it works. So now when we click, for example in Excel or in Word, we click open, save, then Control X, cut, paste, format, different format options we have. When we are clicking on options, the options, the background or the back processes the user may not see. How it will save, where it goes or where it comes from. So these all implementation part is not directly linked to the user. User is not concentrating the implementation part. It will be in the back side. So now he wants to save the file. The file must be saved in a particular location. How to save, where to save, it's different operations going on in the back side. So here you can see the some extent the scenario of bridge. So now the implementation part will be separated from the interfaces, so that the user may not worry about the implementation part. User only wants to see the result. So now this is about bridge pattern. Next we will see another structural design pattern, that is composite design pattern. Let's we compose the objects. It's a composite design pattern. We'll combine the objects into tree structures in a hierarchical manner. Tree, that means root, left, right, like these structures we can, and then work with these structures as if they were individual objects. So now they will be treated as individual objects, but it will be in a structure that is a tree-like structure. So composite design pattern used when we have to implement a part-whole hierarchy. Part-whole hierarchy means we have some hierarchy level-wise structure. For example, a diagram made of other pieces such as circle, square, rectangle, etc. You can see in the right hand side in this picture. So when we are constructing shape, we have a circle, we have a square, we have a rectangle. So all this type of shapes we can create. But once we will create, we can combine it, we can make a hierarchy. You can see shape. Under shape, we have a different kind of shapes like red rectangle, red circle, red square, blue circle, blue square. So now we are having different individual objects which is separated, but it is under a particular branch, it is under a particular hierarchy. So this way we can combine. So now all these four different kinds of shapes can be grouped together, combined together, composite together, and it will be under your shape class. So now in this structure you can find out all these objects are combined, that is with a hierarchical order, that is tree structure. So composite, once again composite design patterns, we are just implementing that tree structure, and each and every objects are placed in that tree, like in a tree structure we have a client and a child, or a parent node and child node structure we can place here. So now we will have n number of objects will be placed in a tree structural design. So this is one type of composite pattern which is under structural design pattern. Next we will have fourth one, that is a decorator. Decorator design patterns also comes under structural design pattern. Let's we attach a new behavior to an object by placing these objects inside special buffer objects that contains the behavior. Now you can see the pictures here, three pictures, different pictures. Just we are adding some functionality, just we are decorating something here, okay, and we will have a different kind of objects here. So now decorator design pattern is used to modify the functionality of an object at a runtime. So when we are going to change runtime, or when we are going to change an object properties or behavior or functionalities features, that time we can change at the runtime we can change. So now sometimes you may have one, for example, in different kind of movies, and we'll find same actor can play differently because their decorations, or the decorator or the designer put a different kinds of theme to the same actor, and he will react or she will react accordingly. So now we are adding to a particular object a new features or functions or functionality to a particular existing object, so that it can react or it can use in different purposes. So now this is how we decorate the classes or objects of a classes, so that it can be used in a different scenario. This is how decorator design patterns plays a role in structural design pattern. Next we will move to another kind of design pattern that we call facet. Facet design patterns also is a structural design pattern. It provides a simplified interface to a library or a framework or any other complex set of classes. So facet, creating a wrapper interface on the top of existing interfaces to help the client application. Now come to the part of facet. What is facet? It some extent you can see facet means is the face, right? Is the face. Now you can see the building. When a building front view you can see. Now you are working on the road, you are seeing a building, and it's made of glasses or designs, okay, you can see. So beyond that, okay, inside the wall, inside the room or inside the building, we are not seeing. Just we are seeing the interface. What is the interface we are observing or we are seeing? We are not seeing the internal structure. So now facet, what will do? It will simplify to see, okay, this is a nice building, this is a nice library, this is a nice medical store, but the complexity, all this complexity, it is hidden or it is abstracted through a facet, a layer. Now in simple manner you can see, now a storekeeper or in a medical shop, storekeeper is there, he has to give the medicines to the customer. Now, where the medicine is stored and how to get the medicine immediately, okay, all this complexity need not know by the customer. Customer only see that if I'll say some medicines, immediately the sell persons, he will immediately provide the medicines. The layer, it acts like a facet, it acts like storekeeper acts as a facet. It hides all the complexity, whatever the complexity in the searching of a medicine, storing a medicine, finding a medicine immediately. All these complexities are hidden by the storekeeper. That's it acts as a facet, right? So now this is how we can say facet design pattern. Sometimes we have to make a what you call a facet, a layer which protects or which hides the complexities, the difficulties, or whatever the complexities we have to protect in to the we have to hide to the user. User should not, because user wants to perform some activities, so user wants some requirements from that particular design pattern. So user need not worried about the complexity or how it comes or how it stores or how it moves from one place to another place. These are not the what you call problems cannot be observed by the client. So facet will protect that, and it will show you it will easily it is making some process interactions between the user and the system. So facet will help in this regard. This is called facet design pattern. Next we will have a flyweight design pattern. As you can observe here, let's we fit more objects into available amounts of RAM by sharing the common parts of a state between the multiple objects instead of keeping all of the data in each object. That means caching and reusing the object instances used in immutable objects, for example string pool. So now what's the exactly meaning flyweight? We have to make our object in such a manner that it will make or it will store minimum amount of memory or minimum amount of time required to access or fetch. This way we can make it weight, lightweight, flyweight. It can fly, or the weight must be in the minimum so that it can be easily. That means we can take an example of that, how to make it. For example, if we are creating a similar kind of object n number of times for n number of user, instead we can keep one object, we can make shareable to all the users. So instead of creating one number of objects to each and every user, so rather we can go for one object or few objects and we can make a shareable part they can use simultaneously. That's about the theme of flyweight design patterns. Okay, so now we have discussed a few structural design patterns. Later on we will discuss remaining design patterns and we'll discuss. So keep watching these videos to complete this particular session. So thank you for watching this video.